What do we learn from India's experience with authoritarian rule between 1975 and 77? Like in many other countries, such as Turkey or Russia or Venezuela or Hungary, we see things changing in India that are similar to these other countries. Remember, Mrs. Gandhi was assassinated in October 1984. But before her assassination, she had lifted the emergency in 1977. She had held and lost elections that year. And she had come back to power after winning fresh elections in 1980 to serve again as India's prime minister. India's opposition, which swept into power in the wake of the emergency, could not hold on to power for very long. If you have been in the opposition for a very long time, you often don't know how to govern. If you're a very good campaigner, you may still not know what to do when you actually come to power. This was true also of India's opposition, and the mismanagement forced a fresh round of elections in 1980 in which Mrs. Gandhi came back to power. In retrospect, what stands out about India's experience with authoritarian rule is the striking characteristic of how quickly democracy went under. It went under because of the actions of a charismatic, powerful, threatened ruler who was willing to act ruthlessly. It may have appeared to many Indians that they went to sleep while democracy lived, and when they woke up, democracy had died. This can be true of other places as well. But the changes that can lead to the sudden death of a democracy are long in the making nonetheless. And some of these changes were very clear in the Indian context. Right from the beginning of India's independence, that is from 1947, a single party had ruled India and had been accustomed to rule. The opposition was fragmented, unviable, unable to bring itself together. Which is why when Mrs. Gandhi declared the emergency, she felt both empowered to do so and capable of doing so. Taking authoritarian actions by a powerful leader is one of the most important ways in which democracies can go under, even if the leader has been elected democratically. A second key characteristic of what happened in India, and which is important for others to keep in mind, is that if a leader is willing to use the coercive arms of the government, the police and the military, into tools of politics, democracy is threatened. Many of the things, many of the institutions, many of the ways in which office holders exercise power needs to happen in the general good rather than for the good of a party. And that brings us to the third key lesson from India's experience. Loyalty to party over nation, because the party is the source of benefits to those in politics, is one of the most critical threats to democracy. It is difficult, of course, for people who are in a political party to put the interests of the country above those of the party because ultimately it's the party that offers them benefits. But doing so and being attentive only to the benefits that individuals receive themselves and undermining the national good is a substantial and ever-present threat to democratic politics.